Welcome, everybody, to the BitCoin call and more, which you'll hear about shortly. For those of you who don't know me or recognize my voice, my name's Jackie. And before we get started, many of you on the call know me. Many of you know John. Many of you know both of us, but there may be some people on this call that don't know either John or myself. I know it's hard to believe that somebody doesn't know either one of us, but I guess it's possible. Anyway, so what I want to do before we get started, for those particular people who don't know me, haven't heard me talk, haven't heard or John talk, we're just going to do something really, really brief. We're just going to tell you a little bit about ourselves before we move on to the subject of actually why you came to the call tonight. So here is a brief thing about Jackie. First of all, and I think it's most important, is that I've been a dinar holder for almost 10 years. Folks realize, I know that's shocking as it sounds, for 5 years when I first invested in the dinar, there was no forums, there was no gurus, there was no intel. So basically I held on for the first 5 years based on total faith. And this summer is now the second 5 years that we have now been hearing the intel and stuff like that. We're not going to be talking about dinars. I just wanted to let you know that John and I both, and John will tell you his also. For almost 30 years now, or it could be a little bit more, I've been a one-of-a-kind credit debt advisor in the country, teaching people how to legally keep more of what they earn, and instead of what I call gifting it to Uncle Sam, and in many cases I've taught them how to pay zero in taxes legally. I've also been invited and spoken on offshore seminars, but in the last maybe 5 years or so, or maybe a little bit better, I've been specializing only in the Invisible New Mexico LLC packages. And the packages that I put together are real complete, so I don't just give you your articles. I help you with your bank account, your EIN number, and a bunch of other things more. So I do all the legal documents for you. So, John, now it's your turn.
Thanks so much, Jackie. Appreciate that. For myself, for the last 20-something years, 24 years or whatever, I've been helping consumers and small businesses with risk management. I call it risk management. It's really consumer debt. And I've done reorganizations for corporations and for individuals, so that what I end up doing is eliminating people's need to use the court system to defend their property, and I actually prevent the collection process from going through to take people's property. So I've been doing that for a long time in all 50 states, and so that's the core of my work. But as a side of that, I've had to do things that involve asset protection. I guess you would classify the other part of it as asset protection. And when I saw the usefulness of BitCoin, it just opened up a whole new world of what can be done with the old things I have been doing for many years. And so I'm really excited about this whole subject on Bitcoin, but that's where I came from.
Well, John, that's what you did in this lifetime. You want to tell them about all the other stuff you've done in your other lifetime? I'm just kidding, folks. John has done a lot of things, and they're all wonderful. He's one of the most brilliant people I've talked to in a long time, actually. But one last thing before we get started, actually, with the topic for tonight's call. And please realize, as you know, I am recording this call. Hopefully it took. And what John and I are going to be giving out is a free ebook on Bitcoin for beginners. So if you want to write down these emails, because you can either send it to me or you can send it to him. And also we'll have the recording information so you can listen to the call again. So you're going to get the free ebook, the recording, any other links that we might state in the call tonight. So here's the emails. The other plan, and that's all one run-on word, THEOTHERPLAN or John J. Singleton, that's also one run-on word, John John JaySingleton at mail.com, and that's mail.com. Folks, I really strongly recommend that everybody stay on the call through the Q&A that we're going to open up at the end of all the information that John's going to be giving out. Because what I have found, and when I've listened to calls in the past too, if you stay on through the Q&A, that's when you're going to learn the most about the subject, because somebody else's question might be something that you wanted to ask, and then, of course, you certainly want to hear the answer to it. So actually, John and I have put on last year, I believe it was a little over a year ago, we put on a call about privacy. And we were going to wait until the RV happened to start this information, which we will present tonight, in a few seconds. But what we decided to do is start it now, as you all really need to be experts on Bitcoin, and you're going to learn why in a few minutes, and that's before the RV, because it's actually part of the privacy issue, which seems to be getting worse, by the way, daily. I'm sure everyone on this call has heard about BitCoin. So before we start with actually the information on the Bitcoin, and this is just pure out of curiosity, what I'd like to do, and I'm going to tell you how to do it, is get some people who are willing to let us know why you haven't embraced Bitcoin yet. And if you have, are you working with it and paying for things? So what you're going to do is press 5*, and then just give me, you don't even need your name, just say, so that I can hear some answers to it, is just state, your answer, why haven't you joined Bitcoin yet? And if you have, just say, I've joined, and let us know if you have been working with it, and if you found it difficult or easy. Okay? So press 5*, and let's see. Let's see, how do I get to that now? Let me see. Here. Okay. I've got some people in queue now. All right. So I'm going to start. Your first one's going to be your phone ends in 411. Okay? Go ahead.
Yes, I haven't been working with Bitcoin because, frankly, I just don't understand the whole thing, and also, it seems like you're limited on what you can buy, what types of things you can buy with it. At least that's
okay, John,
as far as I've gotten with it.
Oh, thanks for that input. John, put that into your data bank. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
now I'm going to go on to the next one. Did you hear that? It says,
yeah.
going to lower your hand and unmute you. So, oh, wait, maybe I got to do this. Oh, no, I don't want to disconnect. Cancel. Okay, okay, you end in 397. No? All right, how about this one, 926?
Hi. This
Hi.
is Susan. Mostly uneducated, not knowing enough information, and a little bit of fear.
Okay. That's what I thought. That's good. I know that's how it with me also. Thank you for that input. Let's go on to the next one. Thank you for that, by the way. The next caller is ends in 6803.
Yeah, hello. This is Joe in Alabama. And
can you tell us why are you working with Bitcoin, or have you been?
No, I'm not. I've heard a lot about it, but I heard that it went up. They went up so high, so I figure, well, I'm too late to get in.
This isn't an investment, but okay.
So yeah, I don't know much about it. How much do you have to invest to begin with? Huh?
Okay, well, thanks for that input, though. That's
okay.
Good to know.
We'll cover all this later.
Okay, let's go to the next one. three. You know, if I've called you, said it before because I'm really not working this dashboard real good. So, 3397.
That's supposed to be me. Why I've not used Bitcoin is that it appears from what little that I do know that it requires a lot of technical understanding. So I'm not working with it because of that. Because I've been waiting for an easier to use system.
Okay, that's understandable. Okay, thank you for that. Let's go on to the next one. And your phone ends in 9308.
Yes, I've used Bitcoin to purchase a couple of things, some overseas drugs, and I had to pay a cyber virus thing to Bitcoin address to get a virus removed off my computers. But there's another thing that is about with the IRS, and I wasn't sure how the IRS is treating this. I heard that they are treating this as a long-term capital gains or 50% capital gains taxes on that, and I was kind of hesitant to get involved.
For Bitcoin you're talking about?
Yeah, for Bitcoin.
Okay.
I thought they have some different treatment on how Bitcoin is treated.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I've got all the research on that. I went right to the IRS.
Right,
I got all the research on it. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for that, because it was just basically out of curiosity, because it helps us with the questions, actually, and for John, because he's the expert on this, and so I appreciate these statements that you're making. Okay, thank you for that. Let me go on to the next one, and that one is no phone number, so I don't know how it's showing up.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh. So about maybe I didn't
your number, I think, ends in 2287.
That's me. I have.
Okay. Well, I got a lady speaking first. So why don't you tell us why you haven't embraced Bitcoin yet?
See?
A while ago when it
call.
Oh?
Yeah.
Hi there. Okay. So it was around 1,000, and then of course I had somebody help me do it, and it went down shortly after that. And more importantly, I couldn't the code or whatever it is, so I'm sort of out in limbo. It wasn't very much, but a little bit that I put in.
So
I'd like to learn how to retrieve that. Sorry?
It confused you, in other words.
Yes.
Okay. That's a good enough reason. I know that's how it worked with me also. I got confused. It was intimidating, actually. Okay, let's go on to. Thank you for that answer. And is your phone end in 3397 or 2287?
897.
I'm sorry. I'm 2287.
You're 2287. Okay, because like I said, I'm not real good with this. Why don't you, whoever ends in 2287, why don't you tell us why you have not embraced Bitcoin, or maybe you have?
I completely just don't get it.
Okay. We hope by the end of this call you will get it.
Right.
Thanks for that. Okay, we have somebody whose phone ends in 7411.
This is 7411.
Okay.
What did you
want to
know?
tell us? You want to tell us why you haven't embraced Bitcoin, or maybe you have already?
I did earlier. I was the first one.
what going back to 2009?
I was the first one that answered your question, and I said
okay.
Confusing to me, and I didn't know where you could spend Bitcoins. It didn't seem like there were many places where you can exchange them.
Okay, good. We're going to answer that also. Well, remember, this is a new board for me, so I'm having, please bear with me. Okay, now the last one, I think their phone ends in 9238. Do you have a question? I mean, do you have an answer for us? No? Okay. I'm going to, well, here's another one that's 4039. Your phone ends in 4039. Why haven't you embraced Bitcoin? Or if you have, tell us that also. No. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna get on with it then. John, you have kind of an idea what's, I think pretty much the same thing with everybody. I think it's mostly that people have been, we have a better idea, but most of it is intimidation, I think. I know that's what, did with me also. So everybody press that, in order to get out of the queue, I think you have to press the 4-star that you got into it?
5-star.
I don't want to remove you from the call or anything. Oh, well, it's that. Okay. We're going to get ahead. We're going to move on with the questions now. There may be more questions. I just want everybody, before we start asking John some of these questions, and I got these are really, really basic. We're trying to make this a very basic kindergarten, so don't be offended by this if you know a whole lot about Bitcoin, because remember, we're doing this for the recording, and we're also doing this for most of the people are intimidated by it. I learned a long time ago when I did embrace it about 2 years ago, if you don't use it, just like the saying goes, you're going to lose it. So I made one spend in it, and then I haven't worked with it, so now I'm back to square one, just like the rest of you are, or most of you are. So, and it is intimidating, but what's nice about the last couple of years is it's become less intimidating because they have made it now, which John's going to tell us, easier for us to be able to buy Bitcoin, and that's one of the key things. So, John, let's get started. What is Bitcoin?
Well, it's money for the internet. I mean, it's based on internet technology, which we'll get into later. There's some new phrases you'll have to learn, but it's money that you can use to buy and sell things on the internet.
Okay, but it's virtual. I mean, I can't hold, touch, and smell and feel it, though, right?
Right. It'd be like using, when you log into your bank account, if you do this on the internet, you can see the account balance, how much money you've got, or what money was spent. Okay, so that's what a Bitcoin account would look like, the way it's set up, and it is internet money. Okay, that's the short answer. It is money that you can use at the point of sale. You can use it at a retail place. You can use it pretty much anywhere. Anywhere you can use cash, anywhere you can use credit card, you can use Bitcoin.
And from what I understand, though, more and more large national chains are accepting Bitcoin as well as gold, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. We're going to start seeing more and more organizations accepting Bitcoin. And ironically, today I was at the acupuncturist, and I asked the front desk clerk about accepting Bitcoin, and she already knew all about it. It's just that they didn't accept it. And I probably, if I had asked, if I pushed a little bit, they probably would have taken it. If I showed them a couple of things, they probably would have taken it. So it's right at the edge there, I think, where there is awareness, and it's in fact, merchants may be providing options to use Bitcoin, and you'll be surprised to know that you can even use Bitcoin at the point of sale where merchants aren't even set up to take Bitcoin or don't know too much about it, just by some applications that we'll introduce to you later. Where people could use Bitcoin officially, January 3rd, 2009.
Okay, so that's a little over 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So, folks, realize when Bitcoin opened, it was like $6. So for the gentleman who said that it's too expensive now, don't you wish you had bought it when it first opened at $6? You know how much money you'd have now?
Well, it was 2 cents. It was not even
2 cents when it started, but I know when I heard about it, it was like 2 years ago. I think it was $6 then. Mm-hmm. It's all relative to, what it is. I mean, it's just like gold also.
But this is what I want to explain about the price of it so that everyone understands the price is not relevant.
Right. Okay.
You'll find out.
Let's go on with some of the. That comes a little bit later, but is Bitcoin legal? By the way.
Of course, it's legal. It's legal just like email is legal. Yes.
Well, why do you say it's legal though? I mean, what makes it legal?
Well, it's legal like anything else is. But if I use my email account to plot an assassination and then carried it out, then that would be an illegal use of it, right? That would be an aspect of the crime. Okay. Well, spending cash is legal, right? But if I go buy some cocaine with it, then that's not legal. Or if I take money that I made from selling cocaine and I launder it, that's not legal either, right? So I can use it for an illegal purpose, but in itself, Bitcoin is legal. It's
money.
I
think that's probably the more definitive. In itself, it's legal, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but how? Okay, now here's the question: how does it work?
Well, this is the best part of it. You're able to spend money, transfer money for things that you want, or to any person or wherever you want, from between yourself and the person. You don't have to go through the bank. Like if you write a check, it's going to get cleared through your bank. You write a check, you send the check out, it gets presented to your bank for clearing, settlement. If you use a credit card, right, it's going to go through American Express, Discover, MasterCard, Visa, one of those third parties. It's called a counterparty. With Bitcoin, you're going from peer to peer. You're going from the person spending to the person receiving. That's it. There's no middleman, unless you want there to be. Now, you may want there to be a middleman in some instances, and we're going to show you how to get started with a middleman. You're going to want this because it's going to make your life easy. But later on, you're going to find out you can use your mobile phone to send and receive Bitcoin, right? When you're talking to somebody, you can just hold your phone out, the other person can hold his phone out, and you can transfer money, just like that, like a handshake.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so now the next question I want to ask is, is Bitcoin owned by a company or an individual, or who owns it, so they can or controls it?
No one owns it. It is controlled by a strict system of, well, I have to use the word, it's mathematical protocols. Don't get scared. It's some math equations you don't have to learn. Somebody else did it. But whoever created this, we don't know who did it, but the person was a genius. That person deserves a Nobel Prize. What that person did is create a system that cannot be attacked. There's no hierarchy. It can't be taxed.
John, that background noise is not coming from your house, is it?
No, it's not. No.
Okay.
The system, the Bitcoin system, has no central point of failure. Put it that way. It's a network. It's a network that's on every computer that's using the service. So it can't be destroyed because a building got destroyed. The FBI can't raid somebody's office and destroy it. The money is right there in your control at all times. It's a network. It's spread all over the place. It can't be destroyed. Okay, let me give you a worst-case scenario.
Okay.
Okay, Bitcoin is based on the Internet. So with the Internet, we have Bitcoin. Without the Internet, we do not have Bitcoin, unless you have some paper wallets, which is a different story. If you were to shut down the entire Internet on Earth, if you could do that, if you could shut down the entire Internet, Bitcoin would not be available until you turned it back on. As soon as you turn the Internet back on, Bitcoin is back to where it left off.
Well, okay, but what about if I shut down my own Internet, or my own computer?
Right. Let's say that you have stored Bitcoin on your computer, on your hard drive, okay? And then let's say that you did something crazy like leave it in a trash heap, like that guy did in England. Just throw it away. Forgot all about it. Bitcoin is not destroyed. You can't destroy the Bitcoin because, it's on the network. So you might cut yourself out of access to your Bitcoin, but everybody else on the planet can go look at your Bitcoin wallet, including yourself. All you have to do is go get a different computer and go look at your wallet. It's right there. The question is, can you access it? If you destroy your access, that's the only way you're going to destroy your Bitcoin use, is by destroying your access to it.
Okay. Now, is it actually regulated, though, by some, I don't know how much that means, actually, but is it regulated?
It's not regulated by the government's any sort of government jurisdiction, and I think this is what people want, because I'll tell you how this is regulated. It's regulated by the system itself. Well, let's call it self-regulated, but not really. It's regulated by a consensus operation. It's regulated by a strict set of protocols, methods of arriving at the production of the Bitcoin, which we can talk about next, and how transactions are carried out. So, for example, if let's say I sent Jackie a Bitcoin, and then I changed my mind and I wanted to do like the traditional, hey, I didn't like the thing, I'm going to send it back, and Jackie says, yeah, sure, I can't make her give me the money back. She'd have to willingly do that. So the funds have to be pushed. They're not pulled like in the credit card system. So in that sense, once someone receives your Bitcoin, that recipient has to agree to give it back to you. Now, this is not what people like. We're not used to that. We want to be able to get refunds and this sort of thing. We want third-party intervention for the most part. There are applications in the Bitcoin space that allow this to take place like we're used to. They're called escrow accounts. They're called applications. They're counterparty services that do these things for us. And this is what you'll learn as time goes on. So everything you have access to and you're used to, like when you do a closing on real estate, there's an escrow account, right? So Bitcoin has escrow accounts. Bitcoin has way more things than you even know that are available in a regular contract situation. So pretty much anything you can do in the real world with everything else, we can do with Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's regulated.
How many? It's still a little It's still confusing, okay? But how many Bitcoins are out there? I mean, is there a certain number, or is it limited, or what?
Yeah, this is where you get the aspect of Bitcoin that's a deflationary aspect. We're used to using currency that's inflationary. So as time goes on, if you pick an objective standard like food. Not really an objective standard, but food is a good measure, right? So as food prices go up, you know that the value of your currency is going down. That's an inflationary trend. That's why gold is deflationary. It's always going to have more value against the fiat. The fiat's always falling in value, so it takes more fiat to buy the gold as time goes on. Bitcoin is exactly the same way. Bitcoin, the total amount of Bitcoin that will ever be available is 21 million coins. Now, people say,
why?
That's
yeah, but
right.
Why?
Say, well, here's why. Because it's a deflationary money supply. It's a deflationary currency. It's supposed to gain value against fiat over time. It's designed to be a solution to the garbage we've been using, fiat money.
Yeah, but how did they come up with 21 million?
Okay, let me run some numbers for you, and I'll tell you right now, and you tell me why does this make sense? If you want a deflationary currency, it has to be a certain number. If I tell you it's 21 million whole Bitcoins, you're going to say, wow, there's not enough. But whoever has it, if it's being used, it's going to be worth a lot against the fiat, right? Well, it goes a little bit further than that because it goes out to 8 decimal places. So it's 21.00000000 Bitcoins. Here's why I say it that way, because if you figure out based on all the decimal points, it goes out to, I think it's the 100 millionth decimal point, okay? If you figure out how many fractions of a Bitcoin will be available when it's completely produced, the system is completely produced all the Bitcoins, you will have, now you got to think about this for a second, you will have 2.1 quintillion Bitcoins. So the system can have that many Bitcoins, which would be 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin, okay? We have 2.1 quintillion of those. So that's enough for the whole planet. That would work if we have a fair system where everybody has equal standing. So the interesting thing of how the Bitcoins are generated, they're actually generated just like you would have have to dig into the earth with mining equipment and take gold and refine it, the rate at which you're able to do that with physical machinery and labor and money, the rate at which you can mine gold is very much like the rate at which Bitcoins are produced into the network. And the way that's done is as Bitcoins are produced, it takes longer and it takes more energy to produce the next Bitcoin because it takes a more complex mathematical solution to come up with the next group of Bitcoin. Somebody's got to read out.
You know what? I think this is confusing us more. So maybe just knowing that these facts, that it's 21 million Bitcoins,
right?
Is enough to know. Okay. Now comes the really important thing. Maybe we'll be able to.
Yeah, hopefully. So to answer your question, Jackie, where can I get some? Well, I can answer that, but there's many places. But why would I want to do that? Okay, why are we even having this call? Because I think people need to understand what we're talking about here. Because I can tell you about a new thing, and you can go get it and have fun with it. But this is a turning point in our use of money for the whole planet. And I think that if you're going to be responsible with money, it's just like if, when you got out of college and you got a job and they started paying you and they gave you a check and you said, hey, I don't know what to do. This is a check. And they'll say, well, put it in your bank account. And you say, well, I don't have a bank account. I don't want to have a bank account. I just want the cash. How long are you going to last in society? You're not going to do well. And so this is learning about Bitcoin is the next level. This is the next level of how the smart, intelligent way of using and managing your money. If you don't understand this, you're going to be left behind. And for those of us who are looking at a windfall or managing large amounts of money, Bitcoin is going to be necessary. And I think this is where this call is important, and this series of information we're going to give out is important. And so I would just say,
folks, and folks, one other thing to remember. Remember, it started off with pennies, Bitcoin, and it started growing, and now it's at 230, as of today or something like that.
Right.
For Bitcoin. Okay. I mean, how would you have liked to have, like I said before, gotten it when it was $6? So it is actually a passive investment that we did. It's almost like you can look at it like the dinar. We bought it for 1/10 of a penny, and the reval is going to be you can safely expect something like $3.50 on it.
Yeah.
So
what I'm going to start recommending, my recommendation though is not to look at it like that. I mean, yes, it's going to be worth more, and you're going to benefit from that. But you really should be using it for its usefulness, because you will benefit, because it is deflationary. It is going to be worth more against the fiat money, and at some point you won't be able to get any of it with fiat. You will. It's people talk about Bitcoin being $10,000 a coin and 100. I don't think it's going to make it that far. I think at some point no one's going to sell you a Bitcoin for a US dollar. So I don't know when that's going to be. But it's deflationary. So what I'm suggesting is, instead of just buying it and hoarding it, you should buy it and use it and learn how to use it, because you're going to be using it and you're going to make money with it, of course, but it's going to be useful to you.
Now, John, can it be counterfeited or, I read somewhere a while ago that they were actually producing some kind of credit cards or debit cards or actual hold-in-your-hand coins.
It cannot be counterfeited. And let me give you an example of how difficult it would be. It's impossible. You're not going to counterfeit Bitcoin. Now, there are other cryptographic currencies. You can do that. In fact, the coding for Bitcoin is open source. That means if you wanted to make up your own cryptographic currency like Bitcoin, you can go to the Bitcoin network. Whoever's talking, please use 4* to mute yourself out.
Or a mute button on your phone. Go ahead.
Thanks. You could copy
it's amazing
Bitcoin.
to me, John, that as many calls as I'm sure many people on this call have been on in the past, that they still have no phone etiquette on this, and that they don't understand when you're on the call, don't walk away, don't start doing dishes if you're not muted. And I've never understood that.
Right.
or have conversations with people in your house.
Right. So you can counterfeit a $100 bill, but you're not going to counterfeit Bitcoin, and here's why. Bitcoin can be copied. Okay, the whole system. I can create my own Bitcoin. I can make my own cryptographic currency today, and then I can start telling everybody, hey, everybody, come to my website and get some currency. I can do that, and it'll have a price, but it's not Bitcoin. Okay, now if I wanted to counterfeit you asked if we could counterfeit Bitcoin. You cannot counterfeit Bitcoin, but you have to understand the magnitude of what we're talking about because this is a cryptographic currency. It's like making your bank account, your checkbook, unavailable to anybody on earth unless they have a secret password that nobody can guess. That's how unique Bitcoin is. So let's say I did this. Let's say I have my Bitcoin wallet, okay, and I put a Bitcoin in there, and then let's say the most sophisticated people on earth, the most genius people that you can find that can hack into my Bitcoin wallet, you put them on the task of hacking my Bitcoin wallet so they could steal the Bitcoin, for example. Okay, this is what it would take if you could even counterfeit it, or if you could even steal my Bitcoin. It would take the best hackers on earth 100 million years to do that, to have a chance to do that. So it's not going to happen. It's not going to be counterfeited. It's not going to be stolen unless someone figures out your access. And that's the weakest link right there is us. Our use of the Bitcoin is the weakest link. And there are many, many security measures that can be taken. They're very simple. They're very cheap. And we'll get into all that. Because when I first started learning this, my second question was, how do I protect my Bitcoin? What do I do and how do I retrieve it? How do I, keep it from other people? And there are many ways of doing that. So we'll get into that. But yeah, it cannot be counterfeited.
Okay, but you have to keep your some of the obviously the numbers and the things on Bitcoin obviously put somewhere in a secure place, but you'll remember where you put it.
Well, I can do it many ways. I can actually memorize a phrase. Like, for example, if I have a favorite poem, I can memorize one of the lines in the poem, and that is my password. For example, I'm not saying do that.
Well, that's true.
But yeah, so my data, like for example, I could literally take $1 million, put it into Bitcoin, and I can travel around the world and never talk about how much money I'm taking with me because it's in my brain. And when I go to my destination, I can go log into any computer I want, and I can access my money. And I never have to report it to anybody, and nobody knows that I have it because it's a thought.
Well, you know what, John, and what people need to understand is like how unsafe the banks are with the money, and this is why I'm putting on this call. This is why I encourage people to wrap your brain around it, really embrace it, because it is vital, because the banks are so unsafe, and unless we have some kind of a miracle happen, you could lose every dime you have in your bank account. And don't think I'm fear-mongering or conspiracy or that it'll never happen, because we are on that verge right now.
Yeah.
I talked about in my educational updates a bail-in, which I explained it a couple months ago, is that where the banks can freeze all our accounts, close down, and when they open again, if they open again, you could wind up with 40 cents on the dollar, which is why I have implored people, do not even think about cashing in all of your dinars when the time comes. Because, I said this like almost 5 years ago. I predicted, wouldn't this be a great time after we cashed in for the banks to have their bank closing, a bank holiday, or now it's called a bail-in.
Right.
Perfect time.
Right. I'm saying this is a very important tool. And if you want to be responsible with your money, you're going to have to know this. This is our way out. Some genius thought this up, and I think it was a series of people, but one person finally launched it, and we have it. It was a gift. The person, I'm sure whoever did it, owns a bunch of Bitcoin. I'm sure you can track it on the database. But it's available to everyone. The person didn't try to set up a company and sell it like the Federal Reserve. He didn't try to lend it out to people like the Federal Reserve Bank. He just gave it to the world and said, have at it. And so it's just for us just to learn. And there's a bit of a learning curve, but we're going to show you there's a step-by-step process by which you can take advantage of it.
So basically what we're really saying, and I'm included in this, John has already embraced it. I tried to, but it was intimidating to me a couple of years ago, so I'm in the same boat all of you are. What we're all saying is this is not something we're saying that you should do. We're saying that you must do it. Must. You really must embrace it. Wrap your brain around it. We're going to, or especially John is going to do us, and we'll tell you how we're going to wind up doing it too, is little by little, inch by inch, helping every one of us to wrap our brains around it and to learn it on a very, this call basically is just to get an understanding of what Bitcoin is, some of the questions, and we're going to open it up. So I'm sure you have more questions, but let's move on. There's a couple more questions before we can open this up. Is what can I buy with Bitcoin?
Well, you can buy anything you can buy with cash. If you have a credit card and you want to buy stuff, you can use Bitcoin to buy it as well. Yeah,
but the merchant has to be able to accept it, though.
Well, obviously, you can, if you want to just spend your Bitcoin right at the point of sale and you want to have the merchant accepting Bitcoin, you could go to, like, for example, let's say you like a coffee shop and the coffee shop is not set up to take Bitcoin, but the owner knows you because you go there all the time. You could just say, look, let me send you this Bitcoin and show him how to set it up on his phone, on his iPhone, and the manager comes over there and says, okay, yeah, it'll be X how much money. You transfer it right then and there, from your phone to the owner's phone or to the manager's phone, and that merchant doesn't have to be set up for Bitcoin. He can actually take that Bitcoin and put it in the, so to speak, in the cash register and work it just like any other receipt. So
is that almost like PayPal, where you don't have to be a PayPal subscriber in order to receive money?
No, you don't. You can. Well, you have to be able. You have to have a wallet that we can put money into. That's all. Just get a wallet, and we're gonna tell you how to do that today. We're going to tell you how to get a wallet to do just what I just said, to spend and receive, send and receive Bitcoin.
Do you think, John, that Bitcoin's going to lose value over time like other currencies have?
It's not designed for that. If people stop using it, I'm sure if the velocity of the money stops, it would have to stop. But yeah, if it were to stop, no one would care anymore. So it's not really. It wouldn't have much value. It might have regional value in some places, but I can tell you this: large numbers of countries, not people, countries and markets within those countries are moving to Bitcoin. And you can do the research and find out, and I'll show you some sources, and you'll see later on. But I'm telling you, there's a tidal wave of people moving to Bitcoin around the world, and they've had to move to Bitcoin. I'll give you one example, Argentina. Check it out. You can look it up on the Internet. Argentinian farmers started using Bitcoin to survive because their country keeps stealing all the money by deflating it.
So this is an international currency. So this is not just for U.S. I can see how this can be really, really good. It's because we don't have to convert it. If we want to buy something in euros or pounds, we don't have to convert it. If they accept Bitcoin, it just goes direct.
Right. And I'll show you a service later where you can hop from any currency in the world to Bitcoin to gold to silver to dollars in a second without even knowing anything. Just click on a picture. I'll show you how to do all that. Yeah, it gets easier.
Well, I'm sure everybody's asking themselves, right now is can I lose my Bitcoin?
I don't see that anyone's going to lose Bitcoins. If you buy a Bitcoin and intend to use it, or maybe you want to just save it, I don't see that anyone is going to lose anything in Bitcoin. You're always going to gain value with it. I don't see that at all. In fact, I would even say that it's impossible.
Well, if I lost my access or something, then I would lose it.
Well, what's interesting is there are Bitcoins in the database on the ledger that the entire world can see right there that no one has access to because whoever had access to it lost it. But the Bitcoins are still there. So it's all about how you're accessing the Bitcoin wallet. So you have to understand that part of it. There are systems to back it up. It's not that scary. But obviously that's the worst part. You can divest your control of it if you're not careful. If if you just decided one day, and this is another reason why I want to do this, because if one day you decided, hey, my friends are using Bitcoin and I'm going to start using Bitcoin, and you just jump into it and don't understand what you're doing, you could end up not understanding what is really going on with your computer and the database. So this is why, another reason why I want to do this call, why we got together to do this.
Okay, now, is Bitcoin, though, considered a currency, and is it taxable?
Bitcoin is not taxable. There is no jurisdiction on earth that is taxing or would ever be able to tax Bitcoin.
Why? Why not?
It's not a country's currency. It's money.
Okay, so it's universal.
Well, it's not subject to any particular jurisdiction, but let me tell you what can happen. If you're a merchant and you're taking, let's say you have, a point of sales tax you have to collect. If you're transacting in Bitcoin, the taxing authority is going to, they have the audit authority. That taxing authority is going to make sure that all your Bitcoin transactions are accounted for in the taxable currency. So it's going to tell you have to move your Bitcoin at the end of the cycle of the quarter to the taxable currency so we can tax you. Now, if you don't do that, for example, let's say, the example again, if I'm running a coffee shop and my receivables and my income is half of that of a coffee shop or the other coffee shops in my neighborhood, the IRS will quickly audit me because they're going to see right away, wait a minute, this guy's just, hiding cash. That's an obvious one. So you're not going to be able to get around if your taxing authority is telling you have to convert your Bitcoins into, let's say, dollars so that you can pay the tax. But the Bitcoin itself is not taxable.
Okay. You know what, John? I know this is like overwhelming to a lot of people. We tried doing it really basic and stuff, but I think the only way people are going to really, and guys, you don't be intimidated by it. I know I've been too. The only way to do it is to do a hands-on. So before we open it up for some Q&A, let's talk about, what we're hoping to do with training people and as well as future calls that we're planning. John did and I did a privacy call, like I was saying earlier last year. And what we were going to do is, I've had a lot of people email me that they want to be involved in it, is we were going to use a small select group or almost like a membership for people who wanted to be part of it. It was like basically a learning on the things we need to know for offshore, for privacy, and a bunch of other stuff. And Bitcoin is included in that. And what we decided to do is that's why we're doing this call tonight, is that, no, this needs to be done before the RV. Because after the RB, people are going to be scattered all over. They're going to be spending their money. They're going to want to know everything, and they won't have the mindset, I don't think, to be able, or the patience to learn this kind of stuff. So what we've decided to do is put on this call now to start with on Bitcoin, but we're going to do this as a membership. And we're going to make it extremely affordable, because the whole goal is not to make us money. The whole goal is almost like to force you to learn how to use Bitcoin, because it is intimidating, and I'll be the first to say that too. And I think one of the reasons I didn't get involved at the beginning was, and many of you can probably relate to this, is that it was a fad. We thought it was a fad. And also many of us maybe remember eGold years ago, and we thought maybe it was similar to that. So by making this a membership program with calls and a real step-by-step learning, we're going to be forced to learn it, and the key is not to just learn how to set up an account, but to use Bitcoin to pay for the membership. And that little saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. So that's why if you pay a small pittance, for a membership, which we'll tell you in a few seconds, for it, you're forced now to use it. And once you start using it, you're going to be comfortable with it. So I think that's really what the thing. What we talked about, John and I, is membership is 1/10 of a Bitcoin. Folks, just because Bitcoin is going today for $230 doesn't mean you have to buy all Bitcoin. You can buy pieces of a Bitcoin. So, John, what is like 1/10 of a Bitcoin right now?
Today, if you look at the price of Bitcoin, and I'll show you guys how to do this, it's $237 for one Bitcoin. And like you said, you can put $10 into Bitcoin and get, whatever $10 buys you, which is what, a few fractions of a Bitcoin. So,
right.
yeah, 237.
So 1/10
right.
of a Bitcoin today would be $23 or about.
Right, $23, right.
So we're saying an opening membership is $23 or whatever that Bitcoin is for that day, and the monthly on it is 1/100th of a Bitcoin. So we're talking about we're going on today's what it's worth. We're talking about $2.30
a month.
A month, okay?
Just enough to be annoying.
Right, and the reason we're doing this once again is to make people go to their wallet and pay that. So once you get used to paying and using Bitcoin, you'll have it mastered. So this is our way of helping you to master it. Now, folks, we don't expect to give you directions on a piece of paper and you're going to do it. I mean, we might give you directions on a piece of paper also to be at your computer at the same time that we're on a call, one that is totally muted out, and help walk you through it. And
right.
remember, I'm going to be like John knows it, so I'm going to be like the pinnacle of what from everybody else is because, I'm going to be learning it at the same time. So I'll see if there's a problem or if somebody else has a different problem that I don't have. Then they can, ask their question or ask John. It's like, okay, what am I doing wrong or what do I need to do now? So right. Realize, folks, this monthly thing, and we haven't really settled on how many times a month we're going to have a call. It might be 2 times a month. It might be once every. I don't think it's going to be once every week. You're going to be part of that, though, as to how often. And future topics are going to be with guest speaker, which are experts in their field, like besides setting up a Bitcoin, but learning how to operate out of it and that. Gold and silver. I already have a speaker who wants to talk, and John's been using this gold and silver vendor for a lot of years right now, and he has found them to be the fairest and the easiest to work with. We're talking about privacy, offshore asset protection, and there's lots more topics. So we're putting it on like I said, a very, very small Bitcoin membership. It could be $230, it could be $215 for that month. Remember, it changes. So it could be $245. It's not going to go from $230 to $10. So don't fret. So right now, what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you have any questions for John in reference to Bitcoin, or if you have something for me too that I could answer, but John's really the expert on the Bitcoin because he's been working with it. You'll press 5*, and you'll get into queue like we did before, and you can ask your question.
This will be fun.
Yeah, if I can do it. Do we have anybody? I don't see anybody's hands raised at this point. Remember, it's 5*. Come on.
We should probably explain how to get the ebook and how to get started with the
Oh, right. I didn't do that. Yeah. I did do that. I said how they email me and you, and I spelled that out.
Right. For the Bitcoin book. Right.
And you'll get the free ebook on the Bitcoin for beginners.
Right.
And you'll get this awful recording. And I'm sure you can get some gold nuggets out of it.
Well, once we get your email address, we can then show you how to get started with getting some Bitcoin. We're going to send you a link, basically. So once you get your free ebook, we'll send you back the link, and then that'll take you through step by step.
Oh, I think I have somebody for a Q&A, a question. Well, let's see. I'm getting all excited. Wait. Let's see if that does it. I just pressed on the little balloon, it said, for a question. Well, it went away now. Well, there's a couple of them. Okay. I pressed that one. So 1362. Is that you?
1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362. 1362
whose phone number ends in 1362? Let me press that again. So I don't know.
That's fine. My phone number on it.
Oh, no, I got a whole bunch of people here. Folks, I'm really sorry. I know how to do the other conference lines in the back of, in my sleep. This one is totally brand new and foreign to me, and if I hadn't sent out the phone number before this recording, I would have changed it immediately. So whoever number, and I see there's a bunch of people with their hands raised. So whoever's number ends in 1362, can you ask your question?
No, I'm sorry, Jackie. I didn't have a question.
You didn't. Okay, so that was you, 1362?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go to the next one then. There's somebody who's got it ends in 8317. (8317). I see people with their hands raised, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Anybody? 3544. You know what? Let me try this. I'm going to unmute that person. Maybe that does it. 3544.
Okay. 3544. Mary of Florida.
Oh, I did it. Good. Sorry.
I think my question was answered. I just needed to know what was the first thing I needed to do. And
get a free ebook.
Just send me a link.
Right.
Get the ebook.
Yeah.
It's email us, and we'll send you all the information. So
right.
If you have mine or John's email.
Mhm. Thank you. You answered my question. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go to the other one.
Give that out again,
the next one.
Jackie.
Okay. The next one is your phone number ends in 1903. I'm going to unmute your line.
Okay, Loretta from Cleveland. I have a question. Are there any cons to this BitCoin? Is it negative? I'm hearing good things about it, but just are there any negatives or anything, downsides to this BitCoin?
You can imagine, I suppose, the learning curve. I mean, I'm still learning. I'll spend the next few years really understanding all the aspects of it. Downside, I don't know. I don't. It's just a different. It's a different way of using money. I don't really see any cons to it. I mean, if you don't understand, or if you're careless, let's say for example, if you're careless with the security you're using to keep your Bitcoin, protected, possibly you might lose access to it. It's probably, unlikely. I don't hear too many stories about that. I don't know.
No, you. Okay. No, you just.
I think to answer your question, once you're comfortable with it, so I mean, right now we're going to be putting small monies in it, but once you're comfortable with it, so that you're not going to lose you're not going to lose what you need to have, then you'll be more comfortable putting larger amounts in there. Wouldn't you say that, John?
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it like this. What's the downside of driving on the interstate or a two-lane highway at 50 miles an hour when the oncoming traffic is opposing you at 50 miles an hour? So you're passing the cars at 100 miles an hour with about 5 feet of clearance or 10 feet. What's the downside of that? Well, we don't think about that because it's so easy. We don't have any problem, right? So it's the same thing with, using cash. What's the downside of that? Well, someone could knock you on the head and take it from you. All right. We don't really think about that too much. It's unlikely. So the same thing with Bitcoin. I don't see that Bitcoin has any really unusual, downsides,
I don't think anyone's going to come to our house and rob us of Bitcoin online.
I mean, you have to really go out of your way.
Walking down the street with your purse or your wallet, you have a greater chance of being robbed.
Well, there are certain you're going to find out. I'm going to speak at some really sophisticated things because there are wallets that. Here's an example. Let's say if someone steals your wallet, right? You have your money in your wallet. Well, think about it like this. Here's how Bitcoin can work. You have your wallet in your pocket, but your money is not in your wallet. Someone steals your wallet, but they can't get the money because they don't know where that is. But you do, but they don't know that. Okay, that's how Bitcoin is. All right, so take my Bitcoin.
And you know, all of this, folks, is going to make more sense as we learn to set it up. So right now, these are just words.
Mm-hmm. It's really a different universe. It's a different way of looking at money. But you're going to find some really, really strong ways. It's better than cash. Just better than cash, you'll see.
All right. Does that answer your questions here?
You know, yes, it does. And, you know, I guess because I just don't understand, and I'm trying to understand it, you know. I'm sure the more I study it, it'll make sense. It'll make more sense. Right. But thank you.
No, I'm sure it will. It's like, and maybe this is not the best analogy. It's like when you first learned how to swim, okay, you know, you were afraid of jumping into the water, you know, and eventually you built up a little bit more courage and stuff like that, and you might have held your nose and then just jumped in. And that's what I'm suggesting everybody do. Maybe you don't have to hold your nose, but just jump in. You know, so, and we're just going to jump in with a small amount of money. We're not doing, you know, hundreds or thousands of dollars in there. We're talking about just enough money to be able to use it, to be able to move it, you know. You've got to put, you know, a small amount of money, maybe $35.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Would you say that's a good number, John?
That's about right. Plus, when we get to the link, you're going to get $5 for free in your account to start with. So you'll see. You'll see how easy it is.
So we're not talking about big monies, and so I'm going to mute you back out so we can get to the other questions. Okay. All right. Next one. Your phone number ends in 190. I'm going to unmute your. Oh wait. Looks like you're unmuted already. 1903.
Yes, I just mute myself back.
Okay. Did you just? Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, don't do that. Don't put yourself back in. Okay, let me lower your hand. Okay, next one. Your phone. I'm going to unmute you. Is 3988.
Hi, this is Pete, and I did use Bitcoin to transfer funds once, and I guess the biggest problem you have if you forget what your passwords and everything are, you can be a problem there. But anyway, it was really easy to transfer as far as that went. One of the things that I hit when I wanted to buy the Bitcoin to transfer funds to somebody was that when you're buying a small amount, it's a lot higher price than if you're buying a bigger amount. And so there are several places you can buy it.
Things have changed, though, since. Now John's going to show us you can link it up directly to your bank account.
Well, yeah, but you still, it's the price that you pay for the Bitcoin, and that's one thing I was wondering if there's, I didn't know whether there was an easier way to buy small amounts or what there.
Yeah, we'll show you. Yeah.
I'm really excited about Bitcoin. I think it can be real valuable. I'm concerned about when we transfer money into it after the world changes here. What happens? Will the government? Will they report it to the government? Then you.
No, if I can answer that question. If you went and bought, let's say you went to a pawn shop and you bought some silver coins, who gets to know about that?
Well, if you spend over 10,000, what the government does.
Okay, yeah, because you're using fiat and all this stuff. But I mean, if you just bought a couple of coins, that money kind of disappears. I mean, now the pawn shop is stuck with your Federal Reserve notes, and you have real money in your hand. You know, so I mean, there's no real. It's not very easy to track something like that. And when it comes to Bitcoin, here's what's interesting about Bitcoin. When you take, let's say, $100 out of your bank in Bitcoin, the whole world can see that. They can't see your bank account. All they can see is there's a wallet address with a Bitcoin in there, or part of a Bitcoin. But that's it. Okay? It's so that it's visible to everybody, but nobody knows whose money that is. It just shows up. And then nobody knows what access you have. The Bitcoin network is not going to send a 1099 to you and to the IRS. Yeah. I mean, it just goes into never land, and you have access to it. It's like taking it out of the game, and you can use it later, and without coming back into fiat, you can stay in Bitcoin. It completely disappears from the system.
To pay somebody, all you have to have is their code number or whatever, and then you just transfer from your Bitcoin wallet to theirs. That's all there is.
Well, it's even easier than that. I mean, you can use your mobile phone, or even this. You can even use, check this out, a piece of paper to transfer your Bitcoin, just like you do for a dollar bill. I'll show you how to use a piece of paper to transfer your Bitcoin, completely off the computer. It's not even on the internet. You can transfer Bitcoin. We'll get into that later.
Does that answer your question? So otherwise we're going to move on to the next caller.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you very much for those questions, by the way. Okay. Let's go on to the next caller with a question. The one who his number ends in 1362. I'm going to unmute your line. You've got the floor. 1362. Let me try it again. 1362.
I don't have a question right now, Jackie.
Okay. Fine. I'll just, because your hand was raised, it looked like. All right. I'm going to mute you out again. Now, the next one, your phone number ends in 8317. I'm going to unmute your line. Do you have a question? 8317.
Yes. Jackie? Hello?
Yes. Hi.
Hi. I didn't get to say my name at the beginning of the call, but this is Leah in Colorado. By the way, this is a very nice presentation in a non-threatening manner.
Okay.
Even with all our chaos.
It was very chaotic. But I still, like that first caller said, I don't get a lot of things. But my question is, what kind of private information do I have to give you, or do I have to register with some private information somewhere to get in a Bitcoin account, or what? Talk about that.
I am
please.
So glad you asked that. And I don't even want to know your first name because we don't need it. We just need an email address, and then we're going to send you information that way. We'll never get to see any other information, your address, your real name. So if you don't like, for example, my email address is my name, right? Duh.
Well, yeah, I've got that problem too. Right. So then what?
Yeah. So, then you can either use that or open up a new account, and that's all we get, though. We only use your email address, and we're just going to pass information to you. We're not trying to create a mailing list or anything like that. We don't need your mailing address, home address, no identifying numbers of any kind.
John and I think she's as worried about us doing it as to when she sets up these accounts, what kind of personal information are required.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing. Yeah. When you get access to Bitcoin, there is no information like a bank account. It is really like using cash.
No connection to my bank account. No connection to my bank account. Well, then how do I put money in?
It comes from it is linked to your Coinbase account, or your Bitcoin account, it will be linked to a bank account. This is what we're going to recommend in the beginning.
Oh,
now,
okay.
No information from your bank gets connected into Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not collect that information. We don't collect that information. We don't see anything. Now, let's say you want to separate your bank information from your Bitcoin account, your wallet. All you simply do is either the easiest way is to just open a new account. Open a second Bitcoin account and move your money from your first Bitcoin account to your second Bitcoin account. It won't cost you anything. So now you've got a layer of, separation.
So I could have my regular bank account, open another one, and I'm the only one that knows that it's for Bitcoin. So there's a layer of protection there, but there's no connection from the Bitcoin back to my original account.
Nobody will have the authority to charge your account. You will be pushing money from your account. Bitcoin does not reach into your account and take money out, nor do we. It's not like a merchant account. Yeah, it's going to be opposite.
Okay. And let's see if I understood. I'm kind of free associating here. You mentioned a membership, that you're thinking about starting a membership so that we can get on future calls to discuss the use of Bitcoin and questions. And you mentioned how much that it would potentially cost. I guess that information would come later. I don't know. Got a little bit.
Right. Well, what we said
when I send the follow-up email after you've emailed me, if you have an interest, or if you want I'm sure you want the ebook, and if you have an interest in learning how to set up a Bitcoin account step by step with us doing, and not us, it'll be John doing the training actually, then it's going to be a membership call. And it's not just Bitcoin, because we're going to have special guest speakers will be on the call. Also, after and we'll also have it recorded so that if new people come on board, they can go back to that other recording or 2 or 3 that we took to train everybody with Bitcoin. And then, of course, they'll always have access to us through email, too, if they have a question or not, or have a problem.
Okay.
But we're going to be moving along, in our private membership.
Okay.
So, but we will have all of the calls recorded so that if somebody comes on after the 3rd time we've done a call, naturally they're going to come in. It's like walking into the middle of a movie. So we'll submit to them the first 2 calls, say, and they're going to have to listen to that so that they can catch up.
Well, this has been very, very interesting. I can say that much. Thank you very much for putting on this call. I'll let somebody else have an opportunity now.
All right. I'm going to lower your hand and mute you back, okay?
All righty. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, there. Oh, shoot. I think I'm getting the hang of it, John.
Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, no, what?
Okay,
let's go to the next person who's got a question. Okay, this person's phone ends 8554. I'm going to unmute your line. Go ahead.
Yeah, Gary from Montana. I have a 2-part question with regards to wallets. One, can you explain the difference between a hard wallet and a regular wallet? And the second part of the question is going to be, how can I convert gold or silver if that's personally to a Bitcoin account?
Okay, you want to convert gold or silver into a Bitcoin account?
Correct.
Okay, back into Bitcoin. Okay. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Usually it's the other way around, but okay. So there's a hard wallet and a soft wallet. The Bitcoin wallet. When we show you the first part, we're going to show you how to do it on the internet, and so that would be considered a soft wallet. It's all digital. You can't hold it in your hand, but you can look at it on the computer. You can look at it as an image on your phone, and so that's a soft wallet, and it has its own set of security. If you want a hard wallet, you can literally print the wallet on your printer, can print a Bitcoin wallet on your printer, and it has different aspects. There's different components to the printed data that you send to your printer, okay? And it literally, it's about the size of a dollar bill, okay? And you can actually pass the money by either handing it to somebody, or you can show them part of it, and you can move the money from the paper, which is the hard wallet, back into a computer or a mobile phone. You can also store the hard wallet in your safe with your gold if you want it. Okay? And now, as far as if you want to trade gold or silver or whatever for Bitcoin, you'd have to find someone that will. If you wanted to take your silver and gold and use it to acquire Bitcoin.
Correct.
Okay, you just have to find someone who will do that.
Like a coin dealer.
Bitcoin. You could, a coin dealer, like what we're going to show you. There's a service that does take Bitcoin to sell you gold and silver. So that service may be willing to exchange the other way around. I'm not sure. You know, so that's something you'd have to talk with them. But like for myself, I'm always looking to buy gold and silver with Bitcoin. I do that right now. So you can, find people like myself that will do that. And I don't know, maybe there's people in our group that'll do that. And maybe there's a way, like for example, we'll show you how to find people in your community that would do that with you. There are people in your community, and there's a network and a database where I'll show you how to get access to it, and you can find people that actually meet in person if you want to, and you can actually make those transactions.
Okay, very good. Now, if I already have an account and I'm dabbling in Bitcoin, which I'm doing, for the experience and educational aspect, how can I tie that in with what you guys are going to do? Because I'm also a holder of several LLCs.
You're probably about a month ahead of what we're doing, so that's perfect.
Okay, I don't mind running after the train.
Yep, that's fine.
All right,
that
ends your question. I want to move on to the next one. I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to get through the questions before people fall asleep, okay?
Very good. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks for your questions. Okay, next one is, the next one I'm going to unmute is your phone number ends in 2985. No, it's moving around now. Wait. It ends in 8739, it looks like. So I'm going to unmute your line. Do you have a question?
Hi, this is Carl.
You're what?
Hello?
Yes.
My name is Carl. I'm in San Francisco.
Yes,
Do you
Carl,
hear
what
me?
is your question?
Yes, hi, Carl.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. To the gentleman that was just on the line, moneymetalsexchange.com will take Bitcoin for the purchase of gold and silver, and will also exchange. So that is moneymetalsexchange.com. They're located in Idaho. I wanted to know if you are familiar with the company out of Baltimore called Laissez-Faire Letter.
I haven't heard of it, no.
No.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
They have published what is called the BitCoin Bible, and what the government doesn't want you to know. It's a pamphlet that I guess is proprietary to Laissez-Faire Letter, of which I am a member. But it is quite extensive, and I thought that you might like to know about that. It is the Laissez-Faire Letter is a part of the Agora. It's Agora Financial LLC that is located in Baltimore. And it's quite comprehensive, as I say.
I bought and purchased several of the Bitcoin Bibles and beginners things, and I just recently bought Bix Ware's Bible, also gold, silver, and Bitcoin. So I I've many times invested back into education that I share with in my educational updates. So be aware of that too. So
excellent. I just wanted to contribute this if you were not familiar with it, so that you could add that to your arsenal.
I haven't purchased their subscription though. Some of the others, there's just so much I can purchase. Yeah, so
true.
The RV hasn't happened yet.
Likewise. I wondered if you'd be so kind as to give me, again, John's email. I know it's at mail.com, but is it JOHNJAYSINGLETON at?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. I just wanted to make sure I had it accurately because I would like to get the ebook. Excellent.
Okay, well, you can get it through either me or through John, either one of us.
Yes.
We have
and I'm sorry, but I didn't
the
get
whole email.
I'm sorry, but I didn't get your email address. Could you give that to me, please?
The other plan. That's all one word, just like his name is all one word. It's the TheOtherPlan @gmail.com.
The other plan at gmail.com. Excellent.
My name's Jackie.
That's Jackie, yes. Thank you so much for that. Okay, and another question. A question would be when you anticipate another call.
Well, first we're going to be sending out the ebook. We're going to be sending out a couple links. We're going to be sending out also the if you want to be on part of the membership, and probably within a couple of weeks. What do you think, John?
Okay.
Yeah, by the end of the month, at least one more call. Yeah.
Okay, and would it be on a Monday? I hope.
Well, that was a loaded question. Well, Monday seems to be a good time. A lot of people don't. There are not a lot of conference calls on Monday.
That's right.
I was either thinking on a Sunday night or a Monday night. Yeah.
Monday night would be excellent. I cast my vote.
All right.
Okay. Or thank you for your questions, and I'm going to mute you out so we can go on to the next ones. Okay.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Okay. Next one. Your phone number ends in 1047. I'm going to unmute you. You're unmuted.
Hi, Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. 2 questions. I have a lot of dinars. So I cash in my dinars at the bank, and I transfer them to my BitCoin account. And second question, is there red flags for cashing out a lot of cash from your bank account, say $10,000? And will there be a red flag?
John, you want to?
Yeah, I covered both.
First of all, before you talk, we don't know what the rules are going to be, and I keep saying that to everybody in the educational updates I do once a month. It's hard to make or to even direct anybody when we don't know what the rules are. It's let's play a game, but there's no rules.
No, I'll tell you what the rules are.
Oh, for this? Okay.
It's easy. Yeah. The answer to your question is, of course, you can buy any amount of Bitcoin. You can buy $1 billion, $1 million, whatever you want, whatever cash you can put into it. Now, I did some research to see what I could put in the fastest, right? So I figured, okay, how much Bitcoin could I buy in 30 days with dollars? And I could buy about $1 million worth of Bitcoin in about 30-day period. The reason why it's only $1 million is because of the restrictions on putting the money in. So the service, and I use a counterparty to do that. And so their limitations are what limit it to only $1 million. If I'm in Russia, I shouldn't say Russia, but if I'm in another country, I could probably put an unlimited amount. In fact, there are services that will do that, and we'll talk about those jurisdictions as well. And as far as the bank goes, when you're dealing with fiat, the bank, when it looks at your account, it just sees that you bought a product. The product might, if you're going from fiat to your Bitcoin account, the bank can see that you purchased, Bitcoin. I mean, in some way it can tell that, but they don't care about that. What the bank is looking for is to see if its depositors would meet the criteria for what one of the employees would consider suspicious activity. Now, that is not defined anywhere. So suspicious activity is what some idiot at the bank thinks is suspicious. So let me tell you this. Anything you do at the bank can generate a suspicious activity report, and I would bet 1,000 dinar that everybody on this call has had suspicious activity reports filed against him. Everybody has, including myself. Everybody who has a bank account has reports filed and doesn't even know it. So just expect that everything you do is going to be reported on. I would just recommend this. Don't take a bunch of cash, like $5,000 or more, out if you don't normally do that, and just go home, because they might call the cops on you. So just be careful about things like that.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I put it in one of my updates, I think 2 months ago. I got called from my business account. They wanted to know why I was receiving money from all different places all over the country.
Yeah. Now, if you want to do some research, it's real quick. It'll take you like 15 minutes, okay? If you go to the official source, look at the beast that's behind all this stuff, okay? It's the Financial Crimes Network, FinCEN, okay? FINCEN. Search on the internet for FinCEN report, and search on the internet for suspicious activity report, and you'll see the forms the banks are using, and you'll see what information is being collected on you. Okay, that's going to tell you everything. But I would just act with the assumption, just like yesterday I was at a restaurant and I looked up and there's a camera looking at my face. So just expect you're being watched everywhere. All the more reason to use Bitcoin. Once you get into Bitcoin,
John, knowing you, I could understand why. Folks, I'm kidding. Okay, did that answer your questions, by the way?
Yeah, I think so. All right, thanks a lot.
All right, I'm going to mute you out. Thank you for that question.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to go on to the next questioner. Okay, your number doesn't end with anything because your totally has no phone number here. So who blocked their number? Who blocked their number? In fact, there's two people that have blocked their number. I'm going to unmute one of them, and you should hear a message of someone saying that your number has been.
I just wanted to ask about Mt. Gox. What happened there, if possible?
Oh, the people that were running Mt. Gox were just wasting money, not managing the accounting properly, and couldn't pay the bills. And the lights went out, and the Fed said, "Hey, what's going on here?" And they got involved, and everything got shut down, and that's what happened there. It has nothing to do with Bitcoin itself. It's just a business that wasn't managing its funds properly.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, partially. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to mute you out and go to the next caller. Thank you for that question, though. All right, next one is also no phone number, so you'll hear that automatic message say you've been unmuted. So then you can talk. Whoever hears that noise, it's not coming from the inside of your head. Okay. Did anybody hear a voice, an automatic voice, say you've been unmuted? Okay, I'm going to lower your hand and mute you back up. I feel like I'm zipping people up. Okay, that was moving. Next one. They're unmuted. You end in 8. Your phone number ends in 8202. You have a question?
Yes, I'm calling from Georgia, Austell. And I was looking online as you were talking. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
What did you find online?
I found a whole list of companies that I use all the time that accept Bitcoin, and I had never heard of it.
See?
So I'm very interested. I mean, like Home Depot, Kmart, Sears, Gap, you name it.
There you go.
They accept it. And so
did you ever
now,
notice that right after you buy like a car, you're driving down the street and that's all you see is that same car all around you?
Yes, absolutely.
It's the same thing.
So I'll be looking
for Bitcoin.
Right. And so now when you buy into Bitcoin, is it something you should check often? Because I saw off to the right they had where like the highs and the lows, like it starts out at a lower rate and then one day it's a higher rate.
We'll teach you that on the call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer that question, but I'll just tell you real quick. I don't look at the price against the dollar because what you're looking at the ratio between the dollar value and the Bitcoin value. So some of that comes from the dollar. Some of it comes from what's influencing the dollar, which are many things around the world. And then, of course, some comes from the activity in the Bitcoin environment. So the way I look at it is I'm just going to get into Bitcoin, and I'm going to keep a certain amount of money in Bitcoin, and I'm going to use it. And I don't care what it is against the dollar. So don't be intimidated or confused by should I buy tomorrow? And that, it doesn't matter because at some point in the future, and I'm going to say the near future, like let's say 5 years, no one's going to want dollars for Bitcoins. It's not going to matter.
If they're even around that long, I guess.
If they're even around that long.
Right. And
but
so, Jackie, I just sent you an email because when you said your email, I just sent you one real quick because I'd like to stay informed.
Okay. Sure. But folks, it's like when you go to the grocery store. I mean, this is a perfect analogy. You go to the grocery store, and I hear this all the time. You see all the prices of items going up. The grocery store is not making more profit. It's what happened as soon as you see that the grocery store prices, foods, are going up, that means the dollar has dropped its value again, and that's why it has to take that many more dollars or cents in order to make the same profit that they made in the past, yesterday or the last week or last year. So it's not the grocery store prices that have gone up, it's the dollar. It has lost its value.
That's right.
Okay, and what is this about mining? Is that
don't get into that. That'll really confuse everybody right now.
Okay.
We can talk about that.
Don't even think about that right now.
That'll get us to tomorrow. We'll be on the phone till tomorrow. So.
Yeah, really. Okay. People for sure be going to sleep. Let me mute you out, dear. And,
Thank you so much.
The next caller. Thanks for those questions, though. Okay, next one. Your phone ends in 0174. I'm going to unmute you.
Hi, John. This is James from North Carolina.
Hi, Dave.
Okay, welcome.
Welcome. Good. I'm learning so much tonight. I've been pretty confused about the Bitcoin, but looking forward to getting the ebook as soon as it be available. How soon you think it'll be?
Well, I got it in my hot little hands right now, so if you're good and you email one of us, you'll get it.
Good morning. Yeah.
Email will be in the mail in the morning, okay?
Well, I want to put the check's in the mail too, honey.
All right.
Put this email together because there's a link I want to put on there, and I want to get the recording on it also. So you'll get it by tomorrow.
Okay, then I'll send the email in just a few minutes. Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay. Thanks. I'm going to mute you back up now. And then we'll go on to the next. Let me scroll down a little bit. Okay, I see one. Here, your phone number ends in 6054. I'm going to unmute your line. You've got the floor.
Okay, Jackie. Hi, this is Melody.
Hi, Melody.
Hi. Okay, I need a reality. You're saying it doesn't really matter what the value of one is or the other. However, my question is, I go to the grocery store, my order is $28, and I'm going to pay for it with Bitcoin, but I don't have enough in there to cover the $28. What am I going to do?
I don't know what the point of sale does. They have an application. The merchants have an application that will facilitate that. So you could pay something in Bitcoin and pay something in dollars. I'm sure the application will handle that.
Okay, kind of like EBT cards and other things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you're using 2 credit cards or something, or 2 debit cards, I've seen people do that. Yeah. Now there is a factor. You have to look at reality, like you just said. I mean, if I put my rent money in Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin does something crazy, like today it's 237. If it goes down to 212, and it stays there for the whole month, that can happen. Now I'm short on my rent money.
Yep.
Where'd that money go? Well, I don't know. It's gone. You know. But hey, it could come back, but we don't know, right? So that is a risk there, and I will show you all how later. There's a service that can mitigate that. So if you have money that you need to keep it in the dollar value that it's in, because you know the dollar is going to be a certain, it's going to have a certain curve, certain rate.
Yeah.
You know you can keep your rent money in the dollar, right? I'll show you how to do that. Then at the point of sale, I'll show you how to put it right back into Bitcoin at the point of sale.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, because that was throwing me right now. I can't talk. I'm riding on two different mentalities. My current situation, and when the dinar revalue and the other investments come in, it won't matter. So you're kind of riding down a train track with a palm tree or a pine tree right in the center, and you're hoping that
this is why I personally want to have people understand how to use Bitcoin, because when you have a nice windfall, you want to be knowledgeable of this tool and know what your risks are going to be.
Right.
If you don't understand it and you think it's a cool thing because your buddy did it and you just put the money in there and you don't know what you're doing, you can have some problems.
Yeah.
If you don't understand. Yeah. So this is the best time now because the risk is so low.
Uh-huh. Okay, my other question is on the total other side of the coin is, say we have a bank account in another country, or we have a multi-currency bank account so that you can switch from one to the other.
It ain't going to be in this country, Melody, but go ahead.
No, I know it won't be. I don't plan on being in this country very long.
Right.
So if that's the case, do you have experience with multi-countries or multi-currencies with Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's Bitcoin is a currency. So all you have to do, if you want to move money, let's say, you could wire money from one account to another across jurisdictions, which is risky. Or you could convert your currency. Let's say you have some currency in Macedonia, for example, in Europe. So you convert some of your currency into Bitcoin that you want to transfer, and you can literally in a second move your money from Macedonia to New York using Bitcoin as a remittance.
But you know what? I first want to say, Melanie, right now, okay, that's moving really far ahead. Right now, we want to try and get. I mean, that's for further down the line. Right now, I mean, sure, you can ask the question of what can we do in the future with Bitcoin, but for right now, I think it's more important that people learn how to just move the U.S. dollar into Bitcoin and just the real bare basics so that we can all get comfortable with doing it. And then John can open us up to what else we can do with the Bitcoin, and can we use other currencies? And can we do gold, just like the other question, the other person I had asked too.
Yeah, that's why I had to ask the cold reality one of what do you do if you run out. Okay, that works.
Melody, your number ends in 6054?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm gonna, things are jumping on this board, and I don't know what to do.
My phone number changed several months ago, so I hope you've got it.
Well, now I will. I'm going to mute you back up, Melody, okay?
All right, thanks.
Okay, and well, then we've got, let me see if I can, okay, there it is there. Muted it again. Come on.
Okay.
Come on, mute. Oh, there it is. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Your phone number, the next caller is going to end in 7095. I'm going to unmute your line so you can ask your question.
Yes,
there you are.
Bill?
Yes, hi.
Hello?
Yes,
yes,
hi.
We can hear you. Can you ask your question?
Yes. I have heard that Bitcoin was stolen from Bitcoin banks. Are you familiar with that?
Bitcoin was stolen from Bitcoin Bank?
Yes. It happened in a fellow was operating as a Bitcoin bank in his out of his apartment, and his computer was hacked, and there was $1 million in Bitcoin stolen because his computer was hacked? You heard of anything like that?
I'm sure that happens. Like I said, the weakest security is yourself. It's your access point, and that's the weakest. It's not the actual system, but it's like, for example, if you're not careful how you're using it, if you don't have a secure connection, that's another risk. If you're using a simple password, things like that.
Well, it seems like the safest way to do it is to keep the Bitcoin on a flash drive. Is that true?
That's one way. I wouldn't say that's the safest, but yeah, that is one way.
Okay. So then if you keep it on a flash drive, and the flash drive gets corrupted, then what happens to your Bitcoin?
Well, it depends on how.
Maybe you could tattoo it to a hand.
Well, okay. It depends on what kind of wallet you have, which I'm going to go over. I'm going to review this with everyone so that you'll not have this problem. There's a way to access your wallet so that no one point is a failure. So that like the example I gave, if you're being mugged and someone steals your wallet, it doesn't mean your money has to be in your wallet. So let's say you forget your password or something. There's actually a security measure that can be taken in advance to prevent you from being denied access to your wallet or being hacked. In fact, there's even a protocol whereby, let's say that person who was stealing the bank out of his apartment or whatever was hacked. There's actually a protocol in a wallet, if you set it up properly, whereby it wouldn't matter that his access point was hacked because the hackers would not have access to his Bitcoin even then. So we'll cover all that.
Okay. Now, if I send an email to email.com, then you'll send me the ebook. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right.
So don't look forward till at least tomorrow because we have to put all the information you're going to need on one email.
Okay.
Okay, but as long as you email one of us, any of you listening to this, as long as you email one of us, because we'll have the same email is going to go out to everybody with the free ebook, with the links and the other information, any other information you might need, so that you know about the membership and the link to. And don't even worry about signing up. I mean. Once we give you the link, because we'll walk you through that too. But if you want to go and sign up, that's fine. But use the link so that you get the $5 Bitcoin.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to mute you, and we're going to go on to see if there's any more. Otherwise, I was really trying to keep this call down to an hour and a half, but at this point, it looks like we have exhausted all the questions, John. We wore everybody out.
All right. We win.
We win. Okay. And, folks, I want to thank you for hanging in there. We're down to about half the number of people that everybody else went to sleep, I suppose. So I am going to stop the recording on this. And thank you so much for getting on the call. And you will get the recording on this also if you email one of us. Okay, so